Success is not fair. It does not care about your good intentions. It is blind to your talent, deaf to your dreams, and indifferent to your potential, until you do something about it. Success does not come to those who deserve it. It comes to those who earn it, who sacrifice for it, who are willing to endure discomfort, ambiguity, isolation, even ridicule, all for a vision only they can see. You will not stumble into greatness. You will not accidentally build a legacy. You will not wake up one day at the top of the mountain, unless you drag yourself up the rocks, bleeding and gasping, with every ounce of your will. That is the truth about success. Nobody wants to hear. They'll tell you to stay positive, to visualize it, to just manifest it. But success is not a genie. It's a war, and you are both the soldier and the battlefield. This world will hand you excuses before it ever hands you opportunity. It will dress laziness up as self-care. It will tell you that failure means you should stop. It will sell you comfort, applause, and dopamine, but never discipline, never sacrifice, never pain. And yet, only through those things can the real rewards be earned. Edison tried over 1,000 times to invent the light bulb, not because he enjoyed failure, but because he understood the price of progress. Lincoln lost more elections than he won before he ever became president. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination. Carnegie started as a poor immigrant, working 12 hours a day for almost nothing. They were not lucky. They were relentless. So ask yourself, how badly do you want it? Not how much you like the idea of success, but how much you're willing to suffer for it. Because here's the inconvenient truth. You will suffer either way. You will suffer the pain of discipline, or the pain of regret, the pain of growth or the pain of stagnation, the pain of climbing or the pain of wondering what could have been if you did. But at least discipline leads somewhere. Regret just lingers, haunting you, whispering what might have been if you'd only tried a little harder. Let that sink in. Let it break you open, because only then can you begin to rebuild yourself. You see, the first lie most people believe is that success starts on the outside, with money, a mentor, a platform, a lucky break. But success begins in silence. It starts when no one is watching. When you decide to become something more than your excuses. It starts in the mindset. Because the most dangerous limits are not out there. They're in here. Your own disbelief. Your own self-sabotage. You were born capable of incredible things. But society has buried that truth under layers of doubt and distraction. It takes a deliberate daily rebellion to reclaim your mind. You have to take responsibility, radical responsibility, for your life. Stop blaming your boss. Stop blaming the economy. Stop blaming your parents, your past, your problems. That narrative is poison, because as long as someone else is responsible for your life, you are powerless. But the moment you say this is on me, that's when the tide turns. That's when you stop waiting and start creating. That's when the storm becomes your training ground. Because success doesn't respond to complaints. It responds to courage, to those willing to rewrite their story with blood, sweat, and unshakable belief. And belief isn't about fake positivity. It's not chanting affirmations into the mirror while your life falls apart. It's about doing the work, especially when it's hard, especially when there's no applause, especially when your voice trembles and your hands shake, but you act anyway. Belief is choosing to show up again and again until the world has no choice but to take you seriously. Because clarity is born in fire. You don't get it from books or podcasts, or scrolling endlessly through motivation. You get it from action, from trying, from failing, from learning, from adjusting. Your vision does not appear in one moment of inspiration. It is sculpted slowly, daily, in the crucible of effort. Ford didn't invent the assembly line because he had a nice journal and a mood board. He built something because he believed in efficiency, and then worked obsessively to make it real. That's what vision requires. Not just imagination, but implementation. Not just dreaming, but building. You want a purpose. Find something worth suffering for. Because passion comes and goes. Purpose stays. And purpose is not always glamorous. Sometimes it looks like waking up at 5 a.m. for a job no one understands. Sometimes it's staying in on a Saturday night to work on a dream nobody sees but you. Sometimes it's getting laughed at, doubted, criticized, and still showing up anyway. Purpose gives pain meaning. And that meaning gives you power. When you live with purpose, you no longer need permission. You don't beg people to believe in you. You believe in yourself so deeply that others can't help but feel it. But none of this matters without discipline. And here's the part nobody wants to hear. Discipline is boring. It's repetitive. It's lonely. It's inconvenient. It's saying no, when everything in you screams, yes. It's making choices that look crazy to the world, because you see a horizon they don't. Discipline is not about intensity, it's about consistency. It's not about doing it once perfectly, it's about doing it every day, even when it sucks. The gym, the book, the business, the call, the reps. Do you think Carnegie was motivated every day? Do you think Lincoln woke up every morning inspired? Do you think the Wright brothers were excited every time they crashed another prototype? No, but they kept showing up. And eventually history showed up for them. Because action, real action, is the difference between wanting success and becoming it. You cannot think your way into greatness. You must act your way there. And not all action is loud. Some of the most powerful moves are quiet. The decision to keep going, to get back up, to try again without applause. That's where your character is forged. Not in the highlight reel, but in the shadows, in the doubt, in the grind. No one sees. Every time you act in alignment with who you want to become, you cast a vote for that future. Every time you say no to distraction, yes to focus, no to fear, yes to courage, you are building the architecture of your destiny. Not someday, now. Because success is not in the future. It is in the moment you decide to stop negotiating with your limitations. But here's another truth. Few will tell you, even with the right mindset, the deepest belief, the clearest purpose, and the strongest discipline, life will still punch you in the mouth. The path to success isn't a straight line. It's a battlefield of broken plans and unseen chaos. The storm will come, count on it. And when it does, your power lies not in what you plan, but in how you adapt. You see, rigidity breaks, but adaptability, that's what bends and survives. Darwin never said survival of the strongest. He said survival of the most adaptable. Because it's not the one with the perfect strategy that wins. It's the one who can evolve when everything falls apart. Edison didn't create the light bulb because his first plan worked. He created it because he had 1,000 backup plans. Disney didn't build an empire because his first cartoon succeeded. He was fired, broke, told he was talentless, and he reinvented himself again and again until the world couldn't ignore him. You will face setbacks. You will be betrayed. The deal will fall through. The money will run out. The path will crumble beneath your feet. And in that moment, you will have two choices: to be defined by the fall, or to be redefined by the rise. That's the essence of resilience. Not bouncing back to who you were, but bouncing forward into who you're becoming. Resilience is forged in disappointment, in failure, in heartbreak. It's found in the moments when your faith is tested, when you wonder if it's even worth it, and still take one more step. Lincoln faced depression so dark, he had to hide knives from himself. Still, he led a fractured nation through its greatest trial. How? Because he saw pain not as the end, but as the fire that purified purpose. You will not always be motivated. You will not always feel strong. But if you build the habit of getting up one more time than you fall, success becomes inevitable. Because pain is not your enemy. Discomfort is not your enemy. Failure is not your enemy. They are instructors. Each stumble, each scar, each breakdown holds within it a lesson, but only for those willing to learn. Which brings us to the cornerstone most ignore. Learning. Not just reading books or watching videos, but becoming a student of life. Every mistake is a textbook. Every failure is a lecture. Every painful experience is a curriculum, custom designed to evolve you. Success belongs to the learners, not the knowers. Because the moment you think you've arrived, you stop growing. And the second you stop growing, you start decaying. Think about it. The greats never stopped learning. Carnegie spent hours daily reading philosophy, psychology, history. Bill Gates isolates himself in think weeks, just to read, to reflect, to challenge his own beliefs. Even the best keep sharpening the sword. So why would you stop? The truth is, learning isn't a task, it's a way of being. It's approaching every day with humility, understanding that no matter how far you've come, you are still a fraction of who you could be. That mindset keeps you nimble. It keeps you hungry. Because if you ever become too proud to listen, too arrogant to adapt, or too stubborn to change, your success dies there. But if you can stay curious, curious even when life hurts, curious even when people doubt you, you'll keep growing. And growth is the gateway to every level you've ever dreamed of. But listen carefully, because this next piece might be the most important of all. No matter how smart, disciplined, resilient, or adaptable you become, none of it will matter if you forget the core: gratitude. Because without gratitude, you will chase success your whole life, and still feel empty when you find it. Gratitude anchors you. It reminds you that the journey is the reward. You can want more while still honoring what you have. You can be driven without being hollow. Gratitude gives power to pain, meaning to mistakes, and depth to discipline. It turns the grind into a gift. It turns survival into strength. Waking up at 4 a.m., it's a privilege, because it means you still have a shot to get it right. Struggling through obstacles, it means you're on a path most people never dare to walk. Criticism, failure, fatigue, they are proof you're not asleep at the wheel of your life. You are alive, fully engaged in the act of becoming. And what greater gift is there than that? Gratitude transforms ambition from a burden into a blessing. It's not I have to do this, it's I get to. I get to try again. I get to build something that matters. I get to shape this one brief life into something eternal. Because success isn't just about what you achieve. It's about who you become in the process. And you, my friend, are not here to live on repeat. You are not here to coast. You are not here to sleepwalk through your potential, pacified by comfort and addicted to distractions. You were born for transformation. You were built for battle. You were wired for greatness, even if life has tried to convince you otherwise. So rise, stand tall, not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. Stand tall, not because you're guaranteed to win, but because you refuse to quit. Stand tall, because the world doesn't need more people playing it safe. It needs more people like you. People willing to face the truth about success and go after it anyway. Not someday, not when it's convenient, not when you feel ready. Now, this is your moment. This is your test. This is your shot. And the truth is, no one's coming to save you. But maybe, just maybe, that's the best news of all. Because when no one is coming to save you, you realize you've had the power to save yourself all along. That's the shift. That's the moment the real journey begins. Not when you get the job. Not when you hit a number in your bank account. Not when the applause finally comes. It begins the moment you stop waiting and start becoming. Because success, true success, isn't a destination. It's not the mansion, the car, the title. It's not something you cross off a list. It's a path, a daily decision, a relentless way of living. It's waking up every morning with intention in your breath and fire in your veins. It's choosing excellence in the quiet moments, when no one sees, when no one claps, when no one cares. It's picking up the pieces after everything falls apart and building again, this time stronger, wiser, unbreakable. Success is not about how fast you run, but how long you endure. It's not about how loud you shout, but how clear your inner voice becomes when the world goes silent. And that voice, that steady, unshakable voice, is your legacy calling, telling you you were not made to be average. You were not put here to blend in, to fade, to settle. You are here to build, to push, to climb, to live like your life is your message, because it is. The grind, the heartbreak, the early mornings, the late nights, they're all chapters in a story only you can write. But you have to choose it. You have to choose to keep showing up, to keep reaching, to keep becoming the kind of person success can't ignore. That's the part nobody wants to hear, because it's hard, because it's lonely, because it demands everything, but it also gives everything. When you walk the path of discipline, when you sacrifice who you are for who you could be, when you step fully into your strength, you gain something no one can ever take away. Self-respect, the knowledge that you fought for it, that you didn't fold, that you looked doubt in the eye, and moved forward anyway. And that's power. That's the kind of power that can move mountains, that can heal generations, that can transform not just your life, but the lives of everyone around you. Because when one person rises, it creates a ripple. One voice becomes a movement. One decision becomes a legacy. So if you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. If you've been holding back, let this be your release. If you've been sleeping on your potential, let this be the alarm clock your soul's been waiting for. Stop asking for permission. Stop playing small. Stop trading your greatness for comfort. Start messy. Start scared. Start tired. But start. You don't need a 10-year plan. You need a today plan. What can you do right now that your future self will thank you for? Because the truth about success, nobody wants to hear, is that it's already waiting for you. Not at the end of a road paved by luck, but at the end of a road paved by your own sweat, scars, and decisions. That road begins here, in this moment, with you. So rise, stand in the fire and smile. Become the storm they warned others about. Be relentless, be honest, be brave. And remember, success does not come to those who want it. It comes to those who are willing to bleed for it. And if that's you, if you're still standing, If your heart is still beating, then it's time. It's time to stop running from the truth and start building the life no one thought you could. Not someday,